Okay, so this week there was supposed to be a not in the shop video. I failed miserably at hitting the record button on one of the key scenes for the video that I made. So I have to go reshoot it, and it's a bit of a drive over there. So let's follow up on the towel drill. Last week I talked about the towel drill. It's a bit bigger towel than this, but I talked about why I'm not particularly fond of the towel drill. That doesn't mean that I think the towel drill's bad. When done correctly, the towel drill is fantastic. The problem is, as I said, we're trying to chase something versus get feedback. So let's talk about how we can get feedback without this. You're supposed to get out of the scene. Wow. Oh, what was it, 2023, I talked to Seth Muncie for an extended period of time, and I asked him, I says, what's the badminton racket thing about? And so he took some time to explain it to me because it was great. I had about an hour-long chat with Seth Muncie, and he's a very intelligent person, and I really enjoyed speaking with him, and he took the time to explain to me why he teaches this or works with the players with a badminton racket. Now, I doubt that Seth is the person that came up with this, but the person that's kind of mainstreamed it, at least with the pros, would be Seth. So I tried to contact Seth and be like, hey dude, can I talk about your stuff online? Well, problem with bigger people is they don't always respond. And it's not like I got a blue check mark or something like that. I'm just some dumb guy in his garage. Wow. Talking about disc golf half the time. So badminton racket. So you've probably seen Ricky with it. Ricky loves the badminton racket. A bunch of the other pros that work with Seth Muncie also like the badminton racket. The reason that the badminton racket tends to be a little bit more useful than, let's say, the towel drill is you get feedback, but you can't necessarily cheat the feedback. So when we have the towel drill, we're looking for a snap, and you can snap a towel by snapping a towel. Well, the problem with that is when we're practicing our swing, we can try to cheat to get that snap, which will ruin our form, and that's not what we want. The badminton racket provides us feedback while we're swinging, and it provides us some really neat, important feedback, which is a part that I really liked about when I was talking to Seth about this, because we're listening to where the feedback is. The feedback, we're looking for the feedback to be out here, which is our hit point in the swing. So we can listen to where the feedback is from the sound that the badminton racket makes. Is this going to be worth it for you to try? I don't know. Badminton rackets are like $2 at Goodwill. So while we all have towels and we keep towels in our bag, and we're not necessarily going to keep a badminton racket in our bag, this is something that we can do in a more confined space and get positive feedback where we're not trying to cheat the sound. So the way Seth explained it to me is we're listening to where the sound of the swoosh is in the rack, and in the rack, wow, the swoosh is in the swing. That's a good one. So if we're out of time, we'll actually hear the swoosh back here versus at the hit point. So I'm listening for the sound to be back later, and we can listen to that. I can hear it back here where I got ahead of my timing versus where I'm hearing it over here. And we can do that with our ears. If you don't have good hearing, I'm sorry, I don't really have a really great explanation of that. The other reason that he said he likes the badminton racket, it gives us some kind of weight. I'm not really sure what the weight difference is between a disc and badminton racket. Okay, the badminton racket is definitely not, this feels in a 170 class. This is the random disc that I have in my shop here that got left on a course and nobody claimed. Badminton racket, I'd say it's about a 150-ish, I don't know, well, whatever. And that went someplace that's going to be really hard to get back. Okay, so we can practice our form and we can think about a lot of different mechanics while holding on to this. We can see the mechanics of our body working properly with the racket. If you remember watching one of my earlier videos, I talked about using like a piece of wood. This one's actually pretty heavy, so I'm not going to swing it very hard, but we can think about the playing a lot easier of the disc because we can grip a piece of plywood, we can grip the badminton racket very similarly to how we're going to grip the disc, and we can see the flexation of how our wrist works in our swing with the badminton racket, just like we can with this. But this is not something I would necessarily want to swing very aggressively. This I can grip very similarly to how I would grip a disc. I can get it into my hand, like really similar to my grip, and I can listen and focus on my weight shift. I can focus on drills. I can use it for drills, and we're getting that sound report that the power is coming in here, because what we're looking at is leverage. We're using a bunch of power and levers to create a snap here later in our swing, which a lot of people will call the hit. If we're rushing it and we're trying to swoop around too early or a lot of these other things, we're going to hear that sound here on our left side if you're right-handed versus on our right side where we want the power to come out. You can also, because forehands in disc golf are very similar to tennis, badminton, and a lot of other sports. I sat you there, that's my fault. Don't really think about forehands when I'm in the shop here thinking about this stuff, because if I am throwing, it is in that direction. When I'm talking to the camera, it is in this direction. Part of the reason that's set up that way is if I am throwing for you, I am throwing into the net. All right, forehand, we can think about that too. We don't want that sound to be back here. We want it to be more up here. We don't want it to be late, because then the disc is going that way. We don't want it to be early, because then the disc is going that way. So yeah, the badminton racket. Tennis rackets are a little heavy. We don't want to overweight what we're using for this practice, because if we're too heavy, we might lose the object that we're trying to practice with and damage something. And we don't want to over stress our body and muscle, because we're mainly looking for just trying to get nice form and listening for that sound. And I'm hearing the sound over here, so at least I'm mostly in time. And that just helps us get some sort of practice versus using a towel where we end up cheating that particular dynamic. Because one of the biggest problems that you'll run into, and I think I just did it with the badminton racket, is when we're starting to use some of these indoor drills, we're starting to, try to practice in a way where we can, think about our swing, think about our mechanics. We forget one of the most key aspects of our swing, and it's the follow through. And I'm pretty sure when I was just demonstrating that, I was forgetting about the follow through, because we want to think about that. Now, the other thing that I just noticed, particularly there, practicing that, I heard the swoosh way back here. So this is a good opportunity to talk about one of my previous videos where we talk about grip lock. You will find, if you're hearing the little swoosh sound way back here, well, that's obviously not grip lock. You still have it in your hand. It means you were out of time. Your shoulders are over timed. You either rounded, you came back, and all your power came out here versus out here. There's your things to think about this week. If you have any other ideas for things that you want me to talk about, or I don't really care what it is. You want to talk about rules or weird stuff too, put it in the comments below. Ideas are hard to come up with because there's a lot of stuff I can do, but I'm just redoing other people's videos, and that's not necessarily as fun. I want to talk about new stuff or like new ideas or theories or things like that. So let me know below what you want to do for videos, and then I'll try to not screw up the video that was supposed to be this week. So hopefully next week we're outside if it stops raining, which it's been raining all week. Have a good one.